this. Yeah, here we go. Let's get to it. You know, I got to get my graphics in order first on the platform. Give me a second. My people's gonna go around with that. Went around it, pimp. All right. And we also got to do the graphics. Here we go. This bullshit. Stop. Pausing the shit up, man. Whatever. All right. We got our graphics. We here. All right. This is not scheduled. This is a live that I wanted to do because I didn't do a show yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta stay true. You know what I'm saying? I gotta make that up a little bit. So I wanted to let you know how the world is still black show. The reason why is because, as again, I wanted to pick up right where I left off. Yeah, we invented everything. Everything. So I just want to pick up right where I left off. That's one thing we did for sure. We invented everything. When we got proof and references, because people love to say, cite your references. So I've been citing my references quite lately. See what I'm saying? Let me turn my camera around. There you go. I cite my references. I let you know where I'm coming from. I don't hide from anything. When we're talking from prehistorical times to even now, when I tell you black people invented medicine, you know how we can read about it. We can let you know when black people started inventing things. Let me show you. See, black people invented medicine, ancient health and wellness. In Egypt, the men are more skilled in medicine than any of humankind. Homer, the Odyssey. You know who Homer is. If you know anything about history, you know who Homer is. Because they prop him up. He's a prop up. And he'll tell you who he learned everything from. Ancient medicine since the 1800s, white scholars have traced modern medicine practices back to ancient Greece, showing the advanced techniques that often been traced back to earlier origins. But in reality, it is the most of the world's most efficient medicine practices, including many techniques that Greeks never adopted or understood. Go back much further to the original people from the world's oldest ancient civilizations. In fact, most of the Greeks' new appears have simply been their visions of adopted Egyptian traditions rather than native European traditions. One thing the Greeks did quite well, however, they kept records. I told you. They kept good records. They kept records. So does Americans. America and when they took the scene, they kept good records of even the atrocious shit that was done. So let's keep reading. Thus, all of the findings, these Greek scholars their way to Near East, where they influenced the physicians in the Muslim world. They took it and kept on building on it. Meanwhile, the knowledge of was being fully ignored by Blackwater, Europe. While the Middle Ages were just plain sick until the Moors came. I mean, seriously, some of these people to be taught how to bathe. I told you, some of these people had to get taught how to bathe. Simple as that. A practice that most melanated people globally practice every day as we bathe once or twice a day. It just comes with the territory of being, well kept and extremely practicing a very high state of hygiene. Yeah, of course. All right. Whew. In the Hood Health Handbook, we talk about this history and trace it back to some of the earlier knowledge to its roots. The black god. We note how, in times long past, black doctors like Bes, the Egyptian god of midwifery, gave the first prescriptions using natural treatments. These instruments became the foundation of traditional indigenous medicines. This was what some would call bush medicine. Meanwhile, testament came from nature. Yet, this is where most modern drugs and treatments come from. In the 2012 365 Days of Real Black History calendar, Robert Bailey reports more than 40% of modern medicines have derived from the traditional African and Asian herbs. For thousands of years, people of color have used plants and tested most of health without the side effects of prescribes. Africans have their own aspirin. The Bantu speaking people use bark and silex capucins to treat musculoskeletal pains, and in the family of plants yield scalatic, scalacticolic acid and the active ingredients of aspirin. Most drugs today are based on chemical synthetics, simulating the natural chemistry of plants and extracting. For examples, most opioids, Vicodin, fentanyl, Xanax, are made of poppy plants, the same plants sourced for illegal opioids and heroin. Ironically, the chemical formulates solid, legally more toxic and addictive than other natural sources. Speaking of which, you can really trust cannabis products. One, might are involved. Can you really trust cannabis products once Monsanto or Bayer are involved? Then you know it's going to be some stuff with it. I'm just saying, you know how that operates, how that goes. Seriously. Okay, so around 800 BC, Greek's poet Homer remarked that Odyssey in Egypt, the men who are skilled in medicine than any other mankind, and the Egyptian were skilled in medicine more than any other art. And of course, Homer was familiar with many other black civilizations, but his statements says a lot where you consider the fact that he was well acquainted with the ancient Greece and the European neighbors. In other words, he could look at all kinds of white folks everywhere and still say those black folks on the Nile were the best. Because as he was in the region, he's just giving you game. Another Greek, the historian Herodotus, visited Egypt around 440 BC and observed of the Egyptians themselves, those who dwell in the parts of Egypt, which is so a crop practices memory more than any other man and the most learned in history, for the fact that they are whom had the experiences and their manners. 3 successive days and months, the purge, hunting after health and emetics, and clysters. And they think that all the diseases which existed produced in men by the food in which they lived. For the Egyptians, and from the causes almost most healthy of all men, next to the Libyans. So they're talking about their practices and how they actually laid. Listen, they even show you the examples of this from the past and present to this very day of how they live. And you call it primitive, when even to this day they can take less uh standard of as far as less quality of living and create better products than most people in a more civilized environment and have better products or better so-called quote unquote better products to get something done. But these people practices and have been doing these thousands of years. So of course their practices and it's better because it's organic and you got to appreciate that. That's why I tell you we invented everything because our practices are superior globally. That's the black Chinaman. That's the black man because that's the black man in America. That's the black man in Europe. Let me explain. Let me show you a little more about the black man in Europe. I do this from time to time because I have to because I get a lot of European haters on this show. Now these are some references. We're such a reference. Well, here you go. You know it's true. You want to get into a little more of this? Okay, let's do it. Let's get into a little more. All right. First of all, look what Edward, the Black Prince. See that? They got pictures of him. Edward the Black Prince. Edward, the Black Prince. Y'all seen Edward the Black Prince? Y'all seen him? Y'all seen both of them black, but we're talking about Edward. Edward the Third and Edward the Black Prince. So Edward the Third, listen here. Since they think they've been in power so long, in one of the last 2,000 years, this is, and when you talk about history, we're talking about the Black Catholic Moorish King Edward the Third ruled England from A.D. 1327 to 1377. That's 50 years. He died. He was the eldest son of Edward II, whose bloodline was traced to Henry I, whose wife was Edith Madeline. The Princess Edith was the daughter of the Scottish King Malcolm III, who was descended from Kenneth the Dove, Niger. There were some old portraits that exhibited Edward's African features, by which he inherited from his father, grandfather, and great-grandmother. Edward III's judgment and military skills surpassed his father and grandfather. His reign restored England's prestige and economic growth. His sister, Eleanor of Woodstock, married a dark-skinned Reinald II, the Black. King Edward III was also known as Edward of Windsor. Is the 17th great-grandfather of Elizabeth II. Today's white portraits of Edward III are fake because this is Edward. There you go. There he is. There's Edward. Right there. There he is. Okay. You got this. That was Edward III. Now look at Edward the Black. Edward IV of Woodstock was the eldest son of Edward III, became the Prince of Wales and a great popular military leader and the beginning of his father's reign. The prince died from a long-lasting illness years before his father's death. When the father, Edward III, died, the throne was passed to the Black Prince's son, Richard II. Edward was called the Black Prince because of his black skin and his obsession to wearing black armor. The French called him Le Noir, the nigger. When he was a child, his French Moorish and mother, Philippia, possessed a wide mouth, full lips, flat nose, dark hair, and skin. Where there also are paintings of his father, Edward III, and his brother, John of Gaunt, depicted them having very strong African features. 5 warships of England's Supreme Royal Navy had been named HMS Black Prince after Edward, the Negro, or the Black Prince. The authentic portrait of Edward Princes can be found if you go to Amazon in the book section, and you can find all of these things. Everything is discoverable. I'm just letting you know. Then you got James. Y'all want to see James? This book is by John L. Jackson, by the way. A phenomenal scholar. James the First and James the Third. You want to see how black they are? They got portraits of them. Y'all want to see those portraits of these black European kings? The kings. These are the only kings you really ever had. Europe. These are the only ones you ever had. When you had kings. The Negro, Catholic, Moorish, Scottish king, James the First, Stewart, was the son of Robert III James the First, Stewart, became king in AD 1406 to 1437. So, before 1492, we know who was running the world. We know these things. We know who respected it. We know how, we know who got who from what, from where, and why. So let's keep reading. All right. So, his grandfather was Robert II, the son of Marjorie, also called Margaret, who was the daughter of Robert the Bruce, who was the descendant of a more Scottish King David I, the youngest son of Malcolm III. King Malcolm III was the nephew of King Kenneth the Nigger, the descendant of Fergus Moore, a forefather of Kenneth MacAlpin. James was assassinated in 1437. You see, that rage kept coming. Check this out. And was succeeded by his son, James II, who was succeeded by his son, James III. You understand? Then you got James III. He's in this. He's in here too. The Negro Catholic Moorish. See, these are Negro Catholics. You got James the Fourth, the Fifth. Okay. Oh, buddy. So then you want to see Margaret Beaufort? She was the black lady. She was Margaret Beaufort. Lady Margaret Beaufort was the daughter of Margaret Beauchamp and father John Beaufort, the first Duke of Somerset. Margaret's father was the great-grandson of Edward III through his fourth son, John of Gaunt, whose lineage was traced to Malcolm III and descendant of Kenneth the Nigger, who ruled Scotland from AD 962 to 967. Lady Margaret, who was also called White Queen, even though she never became queen, was married 4 times. But upon her second marriage at the age of 12 with Edmund Tudor, she gave birth to Henry Tudor the Seventh, who became the King of England from AD 1485 to 1509. The attractive countess outlived her son and fortunately witnessed her coronation of her grandson, Henry VIII. During his lifetime, she founded 2 Cambridge colleges and was greatly recognized for other public works. She mothered 1 child and died in AD 1509 at the age of 66. So when I tell you our history, this is the history of melanated people globally. These people even came to the Americas. You understand? So the reason why I know this is because I have these same individuals that came to the Americas in my bloodline. So I'm reading about some of my elders and some of my people that I am attached to as well. Didn't want to be, just the fact that I am. Mixture of a lot of things, but an Aboriginal American came through my mother. See, when people come to a person's land and you take or we amalgamate and you have, you amalgamate, you go through a what? That's an ethnogenesis. So, when you go through an ethnogenesis, you still maintain a lot of your indigenous same features because the same people was attracted to the same people simply because even when they told you, when even these rulers was trading with the Americas, we had honor. We had a lot of respect, prestige amongst one another. It wasn't violent. The world wasn't raging war every 3 to 5 years like we get now. WAR, 3 to 5 years. WAR, 3 to 5 years. That's ridiculous. It's too much. And it's global. These are global implemented problems that we know who implement these things. These things don't just happen overnight. It's ego, is not putting the planet first, that we all eat off, that we all, not understanding that, the sun provides, the earth provides, the earth is a celestial body. So if the earth is a celestial body, that means the earth has a memory. So when you keep on pillaging and penetrating the earth as if it's just a corpse, it will show you it can be alive as well. So then you get storms, you get all of this different types of weather because this is the earth fighting back and healing itself. So you see the raindrops that you get, and while you got all this black snow that's it's caught up in the condensation process, even with the oceans. When you got all these plastic bottles that have became a whole aquatic part of the elements of nature, don't you think those particles can break down and become a part of the atmosphere too? So when you pack a snowball now, it don't melt, it turn black. It literally would turn like the color of plastic. When you burn plastic, it turns black and it's hard to melt and it becomes ice mixed with it. That's a product of our own doing. You can't blame everything going, oh, somebody's doing something with HARP. Yeah, we know they got mechanisms to control some sorts of types of weather, but in some facets of this, it's self-implemented from being not a good steward of the planet. See, that name steward meant something when the originators had it. It means steward. It means a great custodian of the planet, knowing how to build, know how to build things within the planet and be harmonious with nature, not go against it. But see, you'll see people remixing it now. They want to be vegan. They want to be this. They want to be one with the planet. Now, all of this shit that you have destroyed, you can't be one with the planet, and you got a history of destroying the actual custodians of it. It's an oxymoron. It's crazy. It makes no sense. So you would rather resurrect old uh uh Aboriginal writings globally. You just compile them. You keep them in the Catholic Church. You keep them all covered up. You keep them on the lock and key, and you only let the prestigious view the actual of how to live, just like the Cisco champions, the creators, right? They created that specifically out of DNA, how DNA works. And that's what you create a network out of. How do you build IP addresses? How do you build IP, IP6 addresses? It's all hexadecimal at that point. So IP addresses, when you're using the natural compounds of how we actually create it, then you do subnetting because you can break down those actually optics. That's your aunts and uncles. You understand what I'm saying? That's you got the root, and then you got the tree of family that comes off that. That's an actual IP address. This is how companies operate. They build by us having these different devices. Whether you have a tablet, a computer, or anything else you have, guess what you have? Guess what it has to have? A DHCP IP address, and it have to have a DNS, a name attached to it, because it has to be identified from what you can see. Everybody's not going to identify with numbers. You understand? So please dig this when you have literally created something so powerful and how we can interwork and interconnect with each other. That's brilliance. But it's done from the study of organics and how we orchestrated with each other, and even how we passed uh melt past children, how we made it with each other. We knew not to do that with each other. We knew not to sleep with our sister or our first cousin, second cousin. You can't do those things because you're gonna come up with a degraded people, a downtrodden people. And the problem is with a lot of certain cultures, they do practice some incest, which is grotesque because it's not okay. What you want to do is you want to be with somebody of likeness, but not associated even chemically with you. That's how you make stronger children. That's how you make the world stronger. You coincide with someone that you have the same values, love, and appreciation from a very deep centered place, and that's how you mate with people. But you know what I'm saying? Trying to sleep with your cousins, and that ain't how I grew up. That's not how we grew up in the South. We knew not to stay away. We knew to hey, you don't do your cousins, you don't do your sisters and brothers. That's the purpose of family reunions. That's the purpose of us being around each other and getting to know each other, growing up like brothers and sisters, so that you don't have those notions or that mindset to even think that way. You understand what I'm saying? So you grew up with the respect and honor and appreciation, not to deal like that because you don't want to. That's not favorable for your genes and for it ain't good. That's bad stuff right there. I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know. Stay away from your family members. It's disgusting. Very disgusting. Don't do it. Um, the world was different, and the world was a whole nother time. And a lot of things were done out of survival and understanding how to make certain decisions in order to move forward. See, a lot of people like to be staying. A lot of people like to stay stagnant. I advise you to move forward in life. With anything that got you hung up, move forward because the world is still black. When you black, you got a chance to move forward. You understand what I'm saying? So let's get to the next whoop moment, people. All right. This is the problem that I see today. Congress was full of them. Test tube baby boomers. They test tube babies. Something wrong with them. They're children. They never grew up. They are completely outside of reality and out of their damn minds. They don't. They really think they function in a place that don't nobody see. You're on the world stage. Everybody see your stupidity, your non capable. You're not capable of making proper decisions when even when people are telling you what we want. You're still like, I got a hard time listening. There's something wrong with Congress. We already know what it is. They all scared of the Epstein files. They're all in fear of them. Yeah, they all involved. Who knows? I just know it's pretty. This is bizarro world that we living in right now. This shit ain't normal at all. We got a runaway train as a president. He's literally the White House is the shit is unidentifiable. Okay, it's not identifiable. It's crazy. It's off the chain with foolishness, and it's like a soap opera. You got Elon screwing Stephen Miller's wife. Stephen Miller acting like Smeagol. Trump don't know where he is half the time. As long as he in front of a camera can talk shit, he good. Don't matter what he say. As long as I can talk shit, I'm good. I'm gonna talk my shit. Yeah, that's what he do. So that's kind of how you get out. He gonna talk his shit. You ain't gonna do nothing about that. And he do some shit too. He do some of the worst shit on the planet. Y'all want me to address it, Obama, Michelle? Yes, he's grotesque. What do you expect? He's a grotesque person. That's the shit he do. They ain't the first time he done wild, raggedy shit like that. That's just him. I mean, damn, why do y'all act like y'all so shocked by the shit he do? He does low life shit all the time. That's kind of what he does. This the shit he does. I don't know why people be. I know y'all talk about. I know why we talk about it because it's I just hate. I hate to talk about shit that's just so fucking vile. He's a vile motherfucker, man. Damn. Shit. Oh. Just fucking vile. Anyway, the shit threw me off for a second. What the hell I was talking about? Oh yeah, test tube babies, just like him. Fucking children, grown children. Have you ever grew up? And parents are very guilty of this shit, especially parents that grew up when I grew up. Do as I say, not as I do. Culture, all that shit they was doing. What else they do? It's like in their mind, you would never be an adult until they die, and I'm like. That's fucking stupid. That I know. That's just dumb as hell. And I don't know what the hell and how the hell they think like that. How the hell I'm supposed to do what you say? Cause I'm very grown and you ain't got my experiences. We ain't the fucking same. We the same DNA, but you ain't lived my same life. So parents, they need to back up off that old wild crazy shit. That ain't shit is insane. Just like if your children, like if you raised your children and you trust your child, you understand you got a magnificent child because you put time and effort, energy, and you molded something great, something constructive. That's what we should be doing as parents, by the way. But all I'm saying is, I would rather trust what I raise and make sure they're armed than always trying to make them feel small or make them feel like they haven't done enough or haven't accomplished enough yet or something like that. Like, my parents don't treat me like that per se. Not my pops at all. But my mother likes hand checking. That's what I call it, hand checking. And that's why we don't talk. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. But I don't like being checked and hand checked by nobody. Don't do that. It's disrespectful. And that's their way of, you're my son, or you just you, and all this old ignorant shit. It's like, will you grow up? Please grow up, adults. These boomers are delusional. A lot of boomers are delusional. They think they know everything, and half of them don't know shit. They don't know anything. The history books they grew up reading, they are stuck in that fucked up uh way of thinking. It's bad. I don't know if I feel sorry for some of them or I feel like that's good. Your stupid ass deserve it because you should have did different. I don't know. Sometimes it's just like um it's like watching a person play a sport and they have told you so many times how good they were at this sport. But when you see their competition, there's nothing impressive to see. It's a joke. It's laughable. It's almost like, oh my God, what do you mean you have skills? There's levels to this shit. In my mind, if I have a skill set that we share, I expect you to perform as such. I need competition. But if you're telling me you can do this, that, and the third, and you're not that good at it, man, I'm at that point, uh I'm disappointed. I'm underwhelmed. I'm wasting my goddamn time. Like, what the fuck am I doing? What you talking about? You feel fooled, bamboozled. This is bullshit. I could have done something else, not this. It's ridiculous. I don't like that kind of shit. I don't like it at all. I think it's a waste of damn time to deal with any situation like that. So anyway, let's get to the next moment because I damn near lost my train of thought on that one. Okay. Yeah, we already been through that. We already know that. See, I think what a lot of people misunderstand is remove the lies. Just remove the lies, and just focus on one thing. Whatever it is that you want to know, the discovery of it, when it came about, how it was, how what was the reason why you would understand that somebody black invented it. Everything else is a compound inventions, doing something that exists and just rewriting or improving and making improvements or making some type of uh um that's all, or if you know anything about the past, it's extremely relevant to what happens today, tomorrow. We already know that the present is the most important of all. What are you doing in the present? See, that's why this show is called the Wheelers Podcast. It's always concerned about what you are doing in the present. We love to talk about history, mystery, mastery of self, but we have to get through those. Learning is not always easy, and information is not always uh, palatable to some because some people have believed and thought so many different ways other than thinking of new ways, new possibilities, uh new solutions, or actually alternate solutions that are actual more than what you have been taught that made no damn sense. So the problem with I see Europeans globally is they think you're just supposed to accept what they say and don't have an opinion about what you've done. That makes you very lackluster in thinking in all possibilities. That makes you not a good thinker. If you thought that you, 6,000 years old, melanated people, 600,000 years old, even, or more, beyond more, you would have to understand the reason why the world functioned so long with so much progress without your well being or without your influence is simply because people had honor, truth, And lies were viewed as the most despicable thing that you can do. But now, when we have a president of the United States that has a track record of lying publicly, he got to have a Guinness World Book of lies told publicly. I mean, it's got to be. He's got to be. He has to have the Guinness World Book of Lies. Yeah, that's a part of. I hate to say it, but that's a big part of European cultures. European cultures, European people. That's a big part of their get up. They lie a lot. They lie a lot. That's why they're so disjointed and so individualistic in their understanding why they're so miserable. Because when they see black people enjoy or melanated people having so much joy and having so much fun, that makes them have a fit. It makes them even more angry when they need to understand you need to let a lot of shit go too. See, the thing is, you thought you had your foot on my neck so long, but you understand you can move either. You can even be progressive. So busy trying to hate everything everybody else is doing because you ain't doing it. And then when you hate on it, destroy it, degrade it, you want to build it back up in your image. Everybody knows your games. You do it with every damn thing. We just want you to stop. Just stop. That's you make everybody diseased. You make everyone so diseased with your antics, your sycophant behavior, and you want everybody to be like you, accept that. Everybody doesn't have to do that. And I'm grateful to, all of humanity that expresses and acknowledges that we don't like our kids being touched. We like them to grow up without having trauma or being measured in their vaginal space or even going to the doctor or getting treated, ill or given, bad diagnosis as if we don't know any better. That's why it's hard to trust certain people because you got a awful track record. See, I'm not picking on anybody. But people think I'm always picking. I got the proof here. Look, this is medical apartheid. Who would think of doing shit like this? Medical apartheid. That's what this book is. You know what medical apartheid is? You want me to give you a couple examples of medical apartheid? I have before, but I can do it again. Let me give you you can get the book for yourself. But let's talk about this book right there, Without Sanctuary. That's why I keep these books on display. So you can understand, you know, you have to have a strong will to be what we can endure, have endured, and have been through, and still maintain a way of progress mentally, spiritually, physically, morally, and ethically. We still find a way to do that too. Find a way. So, military medicine, let me tell you, Without Sanctuary, let me tell you what military medicine is. Military medicine provides an inadequate, in your face of a legendary carnage wrought by the war between the states. 88 of every 1,000 white volunteer soldiers in the Union Army died, but proportionately, 1.5 times more black Union soldiers. 184 per 1,000 succumbed. Are you watching my show? Well, I'm doing it right now. You want it? Call you back. All right. Yeah, yep. So check this out. All right. One Northern officer declared, "You can't replace these white boys. But if a nigga dies, all you have to do is send it out and get another one." See, that's how they thought. This is Without Sanctuary. Still, it was much safer and healthier to be a black soldier than a black civilian. Most black slaves fled the plantations when the war began, and more free blacks fled the South. An internal nation of homeless, roaming northward, hungry, tattered, sick, and penniless, seeking safer harbor. As the Union Army drove back the boundaries of the Confederacy, it initially took the control of 750,000 black people. The government assigned responsible for their care to a reluctant Union Army, which was argued that it had neither the resources nor the expertise to give the refugee blacks the care they needed. Nevertheless, during the peak of the year 1866, the Army Freedmen's Bureau health system compromised 46 field hospital, 52 colonies, asylums, and dispensaries, small clinics, 118 physicians, and 406 hospitals attended. Waves of sick blacks were herbs and camps without adequate nutrition, sanitation, or medical care. Only 136 physicians even cared for 1.1 million freedmen who eventually lived in these camps, and many of these doctors expressed disdain for blacks, animals. At least one doctor called the contraband in front of the relief workers. Some flattered refused to care for them. The results were predictable. One out of every four freedmen died in the camps. Many died of rampant infectious diseases, especially tuberculosis. Infant mortality, which was almost running high, almost enslaved blacks and swelling exponentially. The African American refugees themselves staffed and ran camps, but always under the argues eyes of paid white administrators. The high disease of death rate, primitive medicine and conditions, and call outs, attitudes of some camps physicians further fled Black American distrust of medicine, as I told you. So what a lot of people do is, you need to read and understand the type of predicaments you can be in if you don't have skill sets. At this point in time, people couldn't help it. It was a different point in time in America, a very different point in time in America. But right now, this is the purpose of building yourself anew, having, establishing resources, opening up businesses that you are very passionate about. You have to put one foot in front of the other. See, we had to walk away from those type of conditions because it was detrimental to our health. See, sometimes we had to do just what we're doing right now. We understand how we have to take care of ourselves because other people aren't interested. They're interested in taking care of themselves. And they have shown this behavior time and time again, over and over again. But I'm going to tell you, that's the show tonight. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I did want to show you some very powerful inscriptions. Ignorance is the slaughterhouse. If you're ignorant, if you want to maintain being ignorant of reality and what's actually taking place, and what you're actually seeing is a replication of what's already been done over and over and over again. These are just replications. It just, for some reason, it has to get more brutal every time because we can't seem to get it right. Get it, whites? Okay. Last word moment. I need people to understand one thing and one thing only. From total darkness comes the light. So the thing is, when you recognize and you see the light, I would run to the darkness. The darkness is where you're aware. You have to maintain comfort. You have to get stronger. When you've been cast out, shielded out, expelled out of humanity, unwarranted, and people come over here and we still rise above it all, that's powerful. That's not indignant. That's dignity. That's dignity. That's making waves. That's making our own way. We've done that. We got to continue to do more of that. But it takes with us treating ourselves with care, love, respect, and doing that to others as well. It's not about beating people down and being destructive and angry. You never know where your help will come from if you're an authentic, good person. All it takes is authenticity, good-hearted, good mind, good way forward, and people will gravitate to you. You get a lot of shit done that way. But being angry, ugly, and despicable simply because you don't like the words that come out my mouth, that's just, it's unfortunate for you. I'm just trying to show you some things that you may not have known or may never have read or may never have even seen. Just Sometimes it's good to listen to a different perspective. It ain't gonna hurt you. I love you. But that's the show. Make sure you share, like, subscribe to the Willis Podcast on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all those good places. Also, a new podcast is still coming. I'm getting it. It's coming up. It's called The Process with Danny D. So the process will be breaking down a lot of how you get to building that strong will within. That will within is the most powerful tool you can use, because if you just stay alive, stay passionate, and stay efficient at something, keep some discipline with you, you will go and move places. You'll go beyond the places that you want to go and thought you could go. I love you. I appreciate you. And I thank you for tuning into the Will This Podcast. You might see me later on today, but right now I got to cut out. Got other things to do. All right. It's my wife's birthday weekend. So anyway, I'll holler at y'all. I appreciate y'all. Love sharing with y'all, and stay motivated. Stay appreciative of yourself. Stay loving within yourself, because that's the key to loving other people. Loving you, you can love other people more. All right. And you won't be so, out of balance and shit. You'll be able to pick on your intuition to get better. You shed a lot of falsehoods and inadequacies. And you want to make sure you do that. So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And once again, this is my favorite part. The will is yours. Don't ever forget that. Keep that. Appreciate that. I'll holler at y'all.